So the last time that we visited UiPath Apps, we were looking on developing a small app in which we would be taking some input, showing it up on the screen, and that was it at that point of time. I'll just preview it once, we'll take a look, and then we will move ahead and I'll show you some other features which UiPath Apps has to provide. Okay, so we built this app which would take some inputs, some contact number, email address, and a city. Once we submit it, it would be available inside the list at this particular place. Okay, so let's begin. I also have loaded my data service which reflects the current state, like all the three names which were being displayed in that app when we previewed it. Now, what we will do is I'll introduce you to a new control that is called edit grid. That control is, I'll say that it's a good one, and it enables you to have all the CRUD actions at a single place. Okay. So that you would not need this form, you can omit this table and just have that particular control on your web page, and it will give you all functionalities of a CRUD kind of operations. Okay. So let's begin with it. I'll do is I'll take the edit grid control. I'll place it here. I do not want this current table that we were using to be displayed on the page, so I'll mark it as hidden. I would not be deleting it for now. Okay. And the next thing that we will do is I'll indicate my data source, which would be a query builder of our current app. All right. Rearranging the columns. Now, here are some additional functionalities which are provided by edit grid, which are also configurable if you want. You can make the rows editable. You can enable the control to have an addition kind of feature, add rows, deletion feature, delete rows, and searching as well. So I'll enable the search feature for now. Okay, and just have a look. I'll save the app and preview it. Once inside the app, I have the search box over here, which like I can just type in and search for anything. So right now I'm putting a filter on the name column and it would be able to search it. But what if I want to change it to something else, a contact number? So 891. It has a contains kind of logic inbuilt and it will be able to search for it. About that was all about like how search would be working, and see, we disabled or we have marked that particular table control as hidden, so that is not no longer being shown over here. The same functionality of the form is working, and as in when like we would be updating any new names, it would be reflecting here. But let's move ahead to the second functionality that is provided from the edit grid control. So I'll go to the events tab. This events tab has four functions: row selected, row added, row modified, and row deleted. So first thing that I would do is like I'll use the row added functionality. I'll click here and I'll go for create entity record. I'll select the entity from here. Now it's gonna ask us for the values that are to be inputted into the data service. So what needs to be written over here? So what we will do is I'll go to the expression editor. I'll go to my control. So this control resides in new page dot edit grid dot new item. We have this function and then the column name. This is how it would be able to take that new item city value, and the same goes for every other field. So new page dot edit grid dot contact number, dot new item dot contact number. I'll copy this, go to the next one, paste it and just replace email address. And for the fourth one, once it is done, I'll show a message saying record added. Values are now added to database. All right. So I'll just go ahead, save it, and let's preview. I'll click on this plus button. I'll add some data to it. Let's say sweetie. And just click on the update button. So you see that this data is now available in the data service in our edit grid control. If you want to check it, we can check it over the data service as well. Here it is. Cool. Now I'll go ahead and implement the row deletion functionality. I'll click here. I'll select the delete entity record. I'll select my data service and record ID has to be passed. So this record ID, how to pass this? It would be a GUID type of value. So for that, we will take again our control new page dot edit grid dot selected row this time, because that row would be clicked over there when we are gonna click that delete button, and dot ID. All of these details are passed. For safer side, I'll show a message. Row deleted. Record is purged. Cool. And type would be success. Save this. Preview it. So I'll delete this record. I'll click on delete, confirm. That is deleted now. And if we check in our data service, it should not be reflecting anymore. There we go. Now for row modified, I'll go ahead and create another rule. So I'll click here and select update entity record, entities, this one, entity record, ID. So this would also be something like the same way how we give it in the delete record, new page dot edit grid dot selected item dot ID. Next, we have to pass the values over here. So right now I'm just gonna be using our edit grid functionality. So what we will do is inside here I'll write again, I'll just paste this, and instead of new item I'll use selected item city. Copy this and contact number, email address, and the name. When updated, show message. The record. Close, save, and let me close the previous app, preview it. So let's say I have changed my email address and I want to change it in the database. I'll click on edit here. I'll write my email address and I'll just click on update. This is updated here as well as in our data service. The last thing is, now what if I want is like whenever I'm clicking on a row, that data should be available on the form and then you should be able to freely modify it. Okay. So for doing that, one thing is like we have to create an app variable, which would be user details and name, and the data type would be of our data service entity. Now I'll just click here on the rule. I'll select a set value and I'll write here for our app variable user details, and this user detail should have new page dot edit grid dot selected item, like this. So now the data would be stored whenever we will be clicking on any particular row. That data would be stored in the variable, but how to showcase that? So for that, we'll go on our field, respective field. I'll click here and I'll select a default text over here. So that default text could be our new variable, that is user details dot name. Here it could be user details dot contact number, user details dot contact, email address, you can also write short forms UST like this, and that should also. Okay, once it is done, we would be able to see the data at the top over here, and gonna preview it. So whenever I'm gonna click on any button here, any row here, it would be showing over here. But right now, if I click on submit button, it would create another row. So for example, let's say Aditya, and I'll change the contact number to something like this and submit it. See, it has created a new row, but I don't want that. Okay. So for doing this, I'll go here and okay. So whenever we are clicking on row selected over here, I'll create one more variable, show update. Okay, this would be of type true or false. And whenever I'm selecting a row, I want set value for app variable show update to true. I'll close this and I'll create one more button. This should be called as update. Okay, and not of show update. In addition to this, I'll also set here show update to false. Show so just let me test it once. So whenever the app is loading, the update button should not be visible to us. And that is true. Now if I click on some button, that submit button is now changed to update. But now what we would do is, I'll go to this update button, I'll go to its rule, and instead of using our entity record, create entity record, I'll use a update entity record. Entity record that needs to be updated is user data. Entity record is gonna be user details.id. And now the expression here, what should we give? Since the data, the newer data, whichever we are gonna be updating, it should be coming from the form control. So this time we would be using like new page dot name input dot value. Okay, same way, expression editor, name input instead. Not sure if I'm being still recorded. I am. I was getting a call on a phone. CNO input. So save this. Email address as this. Email address input. City input. Save this. When updated, do not open a page. I'll say is show message. And I'll write here as record updated. Values are now updated to latest one. Cool. And once the values are also updated, do I need to do anything? I'll reset the value. I'll reset value for our field. Oh no, the variable. So it would be the user details. I would be resetting it. Close it and save it. Let's preview. So first things first, I'll delete this duplicated record. Okay, let's delete that. That is done. Now I'll click on, let's say, Aditya. I'll write the last name as well. And the contact number should be this. And if I click on update, values are now updated to the latest one. Ta-dam. Is it? Ooh, I have done some kind of mistake maybe. So let me correct that. Go here, click on update, edit rule. City. See, city input should be here. City input. And this should be name input. Closing this, saving it. Also, that form was showing an error. So let's try to do one thing more. So once this is done, I'll also reset value for where is the form residing? Input control. Input container. Input. I'll use this. I'll correct the. Also, I have moved to, let's say, Bhopal. Cool. Now it's not even showing the errors, and the data is also updated in our data service. Great. So this is how the whole edit grid control would be working. In addition to this, let's say if you wanted to have some kind of drop down type of control in city, it doesn't make sense right now, but if you want it, I'll go to city, I'll convert it to a drop down. I can give a new list source of string. Here we can pass the values like in the in form of string Indore, Jain, like this. So maybe I'll add one more city so that you feel like I have added something extra as well. So let's add Mumbai and Delhi to the list. Save it. See, like this. The same kind of thing could be implemented for the city control at the top over here if we need, or else you can let it stay like this. It's up to you and your use case. I'll update it for now with some details and update, right? And what I wanted was like we cleared all this data as well, but now once we have clicked update, it should be showing us the submit button over here. So go here, events, edit rule. When updated, I'll also set my variable show update. Sorry. My bad. Show update to false. Let's save it. Let's try it. So I'll click here. I'll change the email, click on update button, everything is done, and it's a submit button. New record, Palak, some number, some email, city as Ujjain again, and let's submit. Yep, everything's working. Cool. So this was all about how you can add data, show data in the form, and make some modifications to it. How can we change the column types over here? How to change the list type of control, like if you want a drop down or anything else, you can use that. And is there anything else apart from this right now? I guess no, but yeah. So one more thing. So let's say you don't want a person to edit the contact number field. Okay, so you can click on any particular column, make that as non-editable by setting this flag as false. And now if I try to run the app, I would be able to edit other things, but this field would not be editable, at least from the edit grid control. Okay, so let's try. I'll click here. Let's try to update the sweets one. So sweets 1 2. If I try to click on this field, it's not letting me do it. Other fields, yes, I can do it. And click on update. So these values are updated, and this contact number field would not be editable for any of them. See. All right. Well, that's all for today. I hope you have learned some good features about the edit grid control and some other features for like how can we make an editable form, how can we switch between different buttons if we want. This is all about logic. The more you practice, the more you would be able to learn. And I hope that I'm able to clear out some of your doubts which might arise while development, because these are all the things that I have faced while I was developing apps. So I'll take a leave. Have a great day and subscribe me for more such videos. I would be updating more and more topics as and when I am getting some time. All right. See you. Bye bye.